What's going on, guys? Sticks here at the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a truly awful deck centered around the Roto Motor Rotoms from Ultra PRISM. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And also a reminder that if you guys are new to the channel, we do have a TTM Discord that will be linked in the description below. We have channels for TCG content, which, I mean, as you're seeing right here, but TTM is a collaboration channel, so we also have stuff from Smogon, a little bit less now than we used to, but there still appears some from time to time, maybe. But mainly there is also draft content, draft format content, with mainly Jolt from the Kansas City Giraffe Chiefs, who is now in the GBA, but also myself and Danza. So if you want to come in and talk about anything Mons related at all, there should be a channel for you in our Discord. So feel free to check that out and just let us know what, I mean, we'll be there and just be chatting with you guys. But also, as for the question of the day, because this is a Rotom-based deck, I have to ask, what is your favorite Rotom form? If you had to ask me, admittedly, I have a soft spot for Rotom Wash, because, I mean, that was on one of my favorite teams of all time back in Gen 5. It was a Specs Rotom Wash with HP Grass for the Gastrodons, which were a thing in the meta at the time. But my favorite overall, I would have to say, is Rotom Spook, or just the regular Rotom form. And that is because it is a mon that a lot of people sleep on, particularly in the draft format. It is a very, very good budget pick. Like, it's usually a very low point value if you're in a points draft. It is a great ghost type. It is a solid lightning type, or electric type. I've been playing the TCG too much lately, and now with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, it got defog. So I have to say that regular Rotom would have to be my favorite Rotom form. Let me know in the comment section down below, what is your favorite Rotom form and why? I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. But anyway, on to the deck. Like I said, it is centered around Rotoms with the Rotom Motor ability, and in case you didn't notice, there's no energy in this deck. The reason that is because Roto Motor, if you have 9 or more Pokemon tool cards in your discard pile, ignore all energy and the attack cost of each of this Pokemon's attacks, and all of the Rotom types have that. So this deck is just centered around trying to get as many tools in the discard pile as early as possible and going from there. So obviously we are running the regular Rotom, my favorite one, I might add, because it has, in my opinion, the best attack of all Rotoms and undoubtedly the strongest. Plasma Slice does 120 damage. If you have 9 tools in the discard pile, you can use that for free. So that is going to be the main attacker of this deck. Just being able to hit 120 for free each turn is insane. And then obviously, like, this Pokemon can't attack during the next turn. There are ways around it, like Float Stone and Guzma. Now, as for the other Rotoms that we are running, I'm running 2 copies of Fan Rotom, and you might be thinking, well, why are you running Fan Rotom? It can't hit for any weakness at all, and that is mainly because of its free retreat. Now, like I said, with the main Rotom that we are going to be attacking with, it can't attack during your next turn. So if you pull off a Guzma, like if you use Guzma to retreat out into something and then go back into Rotom, that is one of the main ways around it. Fan Rotom gives you just an immediate Guzma into this and then free retreat out, and free retreat is something that is just invaluable in a lot of decks. Spinning Fan is also not a horrible attack. I mean, it does 20 to each of your opponent's Pokemon, so it can set up certain KOs. But mainly this Rotom is there for the free retreat, and that's why it is in the list. Running Rotom Heat to be able to hit for Fire-type weaknesses, mainly against things like Metagross, among others. We are running Mow Rotom, and this was the one that I was very much like, don't necessarily know if there's any particularly relevant grass types in the meta right now, or any grass weaks in the meta right now, but I decided, you know what, this is a Rotom deck, let's just have fun with it. It's not supposed to be serious, so I just threw Modem in there because you never know what you're going to run into on the showdown ladder, and I guess it can hit Lycanroc. That's about the only thing I can think of right now that it would hit for weakness, and then Greninja just kind of shuts you down anyway. As soon as like it gets Shadow Stitching, you just kind of lose, so there's that. Absolute max number of Rotoms. Sorry, I was thinking before I was speaking, like the words were in my head before I was actually able to verbalize them. Max number of these Rotoms, because 120 damage, like that's the most that any Rotom can hit for, apart from Frost Rotom, which is the last Rotom we are running for the Frost Crush. 10 plus 20 times the amount of energy attached to all your opponent's Pokemon can technically hit for more than regular Rotom. However, this one relies a lot on your opponent, and so just like if your opponent knows that your main attacker is Frost Rotom, they just don't have to attach a lot of energy, and then they can overwhelm you. So I mean, we're still running this because, I mean, Volcanion, this kind of just auto wins against Volcanion, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, you really don't want to have to rely on that as the main attacker. So that's why there's only a couple copies of it. Now, as for the items we are running, so I'm going to say items first and then the tools. 2 Field Blower, because first of all, Garbotoxin just shuts us down and we auto-lose against that. But then again, let's be real, we basically auto-lose to any real deck in the format. But however, this also can work to get your own tools in the discard pile. Like if you attach 2 tools to a couple of your Rotoms, you can Field Blower your own tools away and throw those into the discard pile. So that's just a kind of a cool play that you can pull off. For Puzzle of Time, I was going back and forth over Puzzle of Time in this deck because there's no way to really search it out like with teammates or anything like that. But I decided to go with it because at the very least it can rearrange the top 3 cards of your deck, which will be very nice for this deck, being able to see what you're going to draw into and decide whether you want to draw into that with Sycamore or discard it with Sycamore is a very strong ability that Puzzle of Time grants this deck. 2 Rescue Stretchers, so if we run up against, say, like a Volcanion deck, like I was talking about, and all of our Frost Rotom get knocked out, we can still recur those and have a chance to, actually do something against them. 1 Switch, just in case we get Lele in the active, or get one of the Rotoms active that we don't want there, just being able to get out of the active spot because we are not running any energy in this deck. So getting out of the active spot, the only way, if you have a retreat cost, is going to be with Switch or Float Stone or Guzma, so that's why I'm running a Switch just as an option. 4 Ultra Ball to discard cards, but also get whatever Rotom we want out. Then as for the supporters, we have 3 Guzma, thought about 4, but decided on 3 because I wanted more cards that could discard stuff and I wanted more tools. 4 Professor Sycamore, just because if you have a handful of items, or you have a handful of tools, sorry, nothing feels better than just playing down that Sycamore, dropping 6 tools in the discard pile, and then drawing a fresh hand. Like, that is a very, very strong thing in this deck, and this deck actually likes discarding stuff, so that's why Sycamore is particularly good in this deck, because the discard effect actually works to our advantage. And then this is a card that I'm trying for the first time ever, Psychic's Third Eye. Your opponent reveals his or her hand, discard as many cards as you like from your hand, then draw that many cards. So if it were up to me, I would simply run 8 Sycamore. Like, I would prefer to run 8 Sycamore over 4 Psychic's Third Eye. However, Psychic's Third Eye is another supporter that you can mass discard from your hand while drawing cards, and also being able to look at your opponent's hand is something that is very nice as well. So I'm trying that out in this deck, and it's actually been working decently. I mean, it's not great, because in almost every situation, I would rather Sycamore. But, I mean, as a backup Sycamore, it's actually not horrible. And now we are on to the thing that allows us to attack, the tools. Running 4 Assault Vest, mainly because, I mean, Assault Vest is one of those things that, like, it's not completely useless in this deck, but at the same time, like, it's just another item that we can run to discard, but if we're forced to play it down, then it can be beneficial in some situations. 4 Bursting Balloon, because Rotoms don't take huge one-hit knockouts. So Bursting Balloon is a way to set up knockouts on certain mons. 4 Choice Band to increase the damage output by our Rotoms. 2 Escape Boards, because this also gives our Rotoms and Lele a free retreat. And if we don't need it, is another way to discard cards. Basically, once again, with a rollerboard, or with a skateboard, sorry, I would rather have 6 Float Stone, but because you can't do that, I am running Escape Board as well, because it's just a cool card that I wanted to try out. And also, this can't be put to sleep. Well, it can retreat if it's asleep or paralyzed, which is a nifty option as well. However, that's not particularly relevant in the format right now. for Fighting Fury Belt because Rotom has basically no HP. Like, I mean, it's kind of bulky. Like, our main Rotom can at max have 110, and these Rotoms can have 130, but at the same time, like, it's still extra bulk and is something that you can discard or use because it can be used to your benefit. And finally, 4 Float Stones, because like I said, no energy, can't manually retreat, have to rely on Float Stones to be able to free retreat out as well, in addition to Switch, Escape Board, and Guzma. So yeah, that is the deck. This is truly awful, but let's go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Gary Smokes, and one thing I forgot to say in the deck profile was that unfortunately this video is going to have to be a little bit shorter, or a little bit on the shorter end, as it is exams, and I unfortunately have to do this little thing called studying. So I'm still trying to bring you a video, but unfortunately it will not be around 30 minutes, which I usually try to get my videos to. It's going to be a little bit shorter, so I do apologize for that in advance, but hopefully I can get a couple games or just one good game. That way I can show you what this deck can do when it's, you know, still awful. I mean, it's still awful. This deck is still awful, but it's still just a very fun deck that I hope I can show off what it's able to do. I start off with my Rotom Fan, which is actually completely okay with me because, well, I start off with the regular Rotom as well. And considering I am able to go first, what I'm immediately going to do, look at my opponent's hand, see what he's got. Not a whole lot. We see the Heavy Ball. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of... I want to get rid of the... No, I don't want to get rid of the Bursting Balloon. I'm going to throw everything else in. Yes, I do get rid of 1/2 of a Puzzle of Time, but honestly, I think that's just kind of a... I think that's just okay at this point. Play the Bursting Balloon onto Rotom Fan because that thing's going to get discarded at the end of this coming turn anyway, so I might as well put that on there so that my opponent has to take 60 damage if he wants to knock out my Rotom with, I mean, if he can get a Tapu Koko up and is able to hit me super effectively. So my opponent is going to Ultra Ball, probably going to grab a Lele, I would think, because we did not see a draw supporter. Yes, he is grabbing the Lele, probably... maybe an N? He might be grabbing an N, but either way, I mean, my hand is actually pretty solid because I'll have at least 5 tools in the discard pile by the end of this coming turn. He actually grabs a Bridget. Why is he grabbing a Bridget? Unless he top decked a supporter. My opponent does not have a draw supporter in his hand. I mean, yeah, he has the Skyla, which I guess can grab a draw supporter, but why would you Skyla for a draw supporter? I feel like that'd just be a waste of a turn. And unfortunately, I do not top deck a tool as I wanted. I top deck a Guzma. So I'm just going to Sycamore, get rid of that stuff. And, okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only 5. So let's go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of yet another tool, get rid of the Assault Vest, not going to need it at all. Let's grab probably just another regular Rotom, as that's going to be my way of winning this game. And my opponent is clearly running a Vikavolt deck. So, oh, here we go. All right, let's go ahead and put the Fighting Fury Belt on top. That way when I Lele for a Sycamore, I can go ahead and just discard another tool. And because I can't attack this turn, let's just throw the Bursting Balloon onto my Rotom so that I am able to at least do damage, put this Koko in range of regular Rotom's attack next turn, and never mind because my opponent has Aether Paradise. So that sucks, and I hope that I'm able to draw into my either a Float Stone, or not a Float Stone, either a Choice Band or my Field Blower. That would allow me to KO the Tapu Koko if he's able to attack. If he's able to attack into my Bursting Balloon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That'll be 7 with the Bursting Balloon. So I need 2 more in order to be able to attack this Tapu Koko. And my opponent did Skyla for the rare candy and is heavy balling into a Vikavolt, but now my opponent has no cards. So my opponent is entirely in top deck mode, but that being said, he does have a Vikavolt and a Tapu Koko, both of which are going... well, Vikavolt's going to be able to set up his mons to attack, and Tapu Koko is going to knock out this Rotom Fan, which is honestly not that great for me. But what this does allow me to do is go into my baby Rotom, or into my regular Rotom, and hit this Tapu Koko this next turn, potentially for an Oko if I draw into the right card. So really hoping that's what ends up happening, because I will be able to Lele for a Sycamore to discard another tool that I know I'm top decking. So this is starting off not horribly, but we are going to have to rely on my opponent just completely drawing dead if we're going to have a chance in this one. So I get the Fighting Fury Belt. Let's go ahead and Lele for the Sycamore to be able to discard the Fighting Fury Belt and get another item in the discard pile. That way we are only 2 away. Let's play this other Rotom down so that I still have the 120 damage just on board when I need it. And okay. I think I need one more tool in the discard pile. I think this will do it. Because by Ultra Balling that in there, okay, so there's 2. Man, I missed out on the Choice Band and the Field Blower. So let's just go ahead and grab the Heat Rotom and play the Rotom Fan down, I think. Yeah, let's play that down because it does have the ability to have free retreat. And then let's just go ahead and Plasma Slice this Tapu Koko. Not quite for the KO, but I mean, you take what you can get. I was still able to hit the Tapu Koko for some decent damage, and now I just had to hope that my opponent didn't draw another Tapu Koko or something like that, because that would be very, very bad for us. And yeah, Aether Paradise Conservation Area just says does 30 less damage, so I can't even take the Tapu Koko to the bench and hit it with my Rotom Fan for the knockout. So that's unfortunate right there. He's able to get another KO. But what this does do is now that my Rotom, now that I'm able to attack, I'm able to just go into another Baby Rotom and take the knockout on Koko. I can even go into Frost Rotom if I want to. But no, I'm just going to go into regular Rotom, hit the Tapu Koko for 100 or for 90 damage at this point, and take a couple prizes, see what I can get. I get another Rotom Heat. That's not even going to help me because Grubbin is going to be able to be knocked out anyway. So let's go ahead and get rid of. Do I want to just get rid of all my Rotoms? Yeah, he draws a Delinquent, but that's not too huge of a deal. I think I'm just going to get rid of both Rotom Heats and my Ultra Ball. I mean, Rotom Mow, it can work for the Tapu Lele because he has the DCE there. So that's the only reason I'm keeping Rotom Mow, just in case I do need something else. And he is going to be able to strong charge his ability. It's going to be able to Electro Cannon me for the knockout. But what this allows me to do is go straight into, well, Rotom Fan, obviously, because, I mean, it does have the free retreat, and this is exactly why I run Rotom Fan in this deck. But what this allows me to do is, so let's go ahead and actually Guzma. Let's bring up my opponent's Lele. I think that might be my play. Bring up my opponent's Lele, and then Plasma Slice that thing for 120 damage. He needs 2 more energy on the Lele to knock me out. And then at that point, I'll just be able to knock it out with either Rotom Mow or Baby Rotom, or whatever I want to go for. Even just Frost Rotom will be able to knock him out as well. And Frost Rotom is actually keeping him from being able to pile up too many energy on the field, because otherwise I'll be able to hit for a ton of damage. So now, once again, I'm going to go back into my Rotom Fan because of the free retreat. But at this point, I'm actually in a very good spot. So I can Delinquent's Third Eye, or Psychic's Third Eye, Delinquent's Third Eye. See that my opponent has nothing. He's running Silvally randomly. And then I'm just going to discard these 3 to draw 3 more cards, see what I can get. Ooh, this works. So let's Puzzle of Time. Oh man, I would have top decked another puzzle. But I can... Oops, sorry, bumped the table there. Long legs for you. I can go ahead and make sure that I top deck into Guzma. And what I can do now is go back into Baby Rotom. I could go into Rotom Frost, but I don't know. I just feel like I want to give Baby Rotom a little bit more time in the spotlight because Game Freak did not like him all that much, or did not give him all that much love. And so now I'll be able to go back into that Rotom, take a knockout on the Lele, and now we're at 2 prizes apiece. My opponent does not have a whole lot of stuff going on for him. He does evolve into the Charjabug, which means that's what he top decked and plays down the Bulu. But this Vikavolt is not doing a whole lot. It really isn't. So now my Rotom can't attack. But what it can do is I can just retreat out, and I kind of want to just set up this... Yeah, I kind of just want to set up the Bulu for a Guzma play. So let's go ahead and Fighting Fury Belt up this Rotom. And then Spinning Fan, I mean, get a little bit more damage on the Vikavolt. It puts it in range of Baby Rotom if my opponent happens to draw into something that will allow... Uh-oh. Aw, man, he can grab a Lele. Crap! Well, this is not good, so now my opponent can grab like a Sycamore or just something to give him a brand new hand, and this is probably the beginning of the end for us. However, I'm still keeping my hopes up. If he brings up Boo... Yeah, he grabs a Sycamore. If he brings up Bulu, then maybe if I draw... Oh, no, Bulu has 180, that's right. I was thinking that if I drew into Choice Band, I could Field Blower away my own Float Stone and hit the Bulu even harder. But now my opponent has 2 Vikavolt up, but fortunately has a ton of energy in the discard pile. Like, my opponent has 9 energy in the discard pile. Can't even Strong Charge. That is fantastic for me. So what I am going to do... Do I want to just Spinning Fan once again? Or do I want to bring up the Bulu to Spinning Fan? I think I just need to... Crap. Or do I want to knock out the Vikavolt? I think... So Vikavolt, yeah. I think my play is to actually just go Rotom and then knock out the Vikavolt and then Guzma up something next turn, potentially the Remoraid. Because as soon as my opponent... Yeah, as soon as my opponent even just gets 2 energy on board, I can bring up that Remoraid and knock it out with Rotom Frost's attack. Yeah, because, I mean, with knocking out that Vikavolt, now I can bring up the Remoraid, and my opponent's Skyload for an Energy Recycler, which is going to put a bunch of energy back in the deck, meaning that he is going to be able to... He is going to be able to get more energy onto the... Ah, crap. Well, that's not good. That kind of defeats my play of potentially bringing up Rotom Frost and knocking out the Remoraid. So this is not that good. I mean, if I had Rotom... Oh, man, if I hadn't discarded Rotom Mow, I would have been able to play it. And then hit the Remoraid super effectively. But, actually... No, he didn't kill my Baby Rotom. Yeah, I have the game won. So let's go ahead and Guzma up the Remoraid. And go into my Rotom Fan. And I was acting under the expectation that he knocks out this Rotom, but he did not, so I'm able to just Guzma up the Remoraid, and Rotom's able to knock that thing out, and we are able to win the game with an Energyless Rotom deck, and we get even a booster pack as a reward, which is kind of cool. But, yeah, so honestly was not expecting that at all. Yeah, we just won with a Rotom deck. Admittedly, it was against a Vikavolt, Bulu, and Silvally deck, which is a little bit clunky, and that's kind of what ultimately did in my opponent, is the clunkiness of his deck. He just drew dead and couldn't draw out of it, so got a little bit lucky there, but I mean, hey, you take whatever type of win you can get with Rotoms. And unfortunately, like I said, I do have to get back to studying, so I'm sorry this is such a short TCG live, but at least I got to show you a win with Rotom and show you Rotomotor Rotom doing some pretty solid stuff. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.